What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before we get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to be a content creator. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. The Mighty Rise Podcast, hashtag JBT. Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. Mike Mazik. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the life and career of Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. How's everyone today? Welcome to the Friday afternoon edition of Cast Sports the Boxtorian. Right at the end of another big week of boxing history. It's Profile Day. Sugar Shane Mosley. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about today. What back there with Oscar and Floyd Manning, Manuel Marquez. One of those fire resumes from that period. We're going to talk about it. Who's in action tomorrow? I think next weekend is the Boots and Stanionis, right? Next Saturday, week from tomorrow. Yeah, Boots and Stanionis. That's the big one. But we got boxing tomorrow too. Let's see what we got in the ring tomorrow before we get started with our highlights of boxing history today. Got a good highlights of boxing history too. Very good. I'll tell you about it in a minute. I want to see who we got on the schedule in the ring tomorrow. They was talking about Bud and Earl is addressing a rematch again. I don't want to see that. It'll be the same thing. Then they coming up with the excuse that Earl was weight drained and all that, but he beat up everybody else at 147. But all of a sudden, when he got to Bud, he was weight drained. And I was Earl Spence and for Earl Spence, but no, that's the same thing will happen. He wasn't weight drained or anything. Bud just beat his butt. That's all. Same thing will happen again. So no, they should have had it immediately. But let's see what's happening tomorrow. And then we're going to get into the highlights of boxing history. Tomorrow's April 5th. Okay, yeah, Heavy Richard Torres Jr., young heavyweight, one of our father's youngsters, beat over Anello from Vegas. Richard is headlined. I think that's probably the first event he's headlined. Abdullah Mason on the card tomorrow. That makes it worth it right there. Abdullah into action tomorrow. All right. Glad I looked. Jahai Tucker on the card. Another card of those top ranked joint. Then we got one from Kazakhstan. Janibek in action. So that's what we got tomorrow. We got one from Kazakhstan, Janibek in action, and then we got the top ranked card from Vegas, Richard Torres headlining. It might be his first card he's headlined. We got Abdullah Mason on the card, Jahai Tucker. All right. So for the highlights of boxing history today, before we get to Sugar Shane, we have going into the heavyweight division. I'm going to answer another question. Who had the weakest and best chins in heavyweight history? The weakest and best chins. Okay, we're going to look at the best chins first. What we talking about? The weakest and best chins in in the history of the heavyweight division. Might as well start out with the best first. Okay. Yeah. Okay, which heavyweight had the best chin? On a list of pretty good fighters, of course, George Chuvalo leads it, with a half a dozen other great fighters right behind him. Okay? So let's name the top 10 heavyweight chins ever. Of course, number one, George Chuvalo. He probably got the best chin in all of boxing ever. But for heavyweight, definitely. George Chuvalo is number one. There he is. Now, any discussion about great chins in boxing, in any division, must start with George Chuvalo. Now, despite having 93 pro fights against a murderous row of punchers, including George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Cleveland Williams, Oscar Bonavita, and Jerry Quarry, Chuvalo was not only never knocked out, he was never knocked down, not once, ever in his career. Never. 93 pro fights. Not even in sparring or fighting as an amateur was Chuvalo knocked down. Never in his career, amateur or pro, let alone knocked out, okay? And Chuvalo fought in that golden age of heavyweights in the 70s. Thomas Hill in the building. Salute Thomas Hill. How are you today? Yeah, we are talking about the best and worst chins in heavyweight history. And of course, George Chuvalo is one. This man was never knocked down in his career, amateur or pro, sparring, whatever. You don't know what the mat feel like other than standing on it with his feet. Okay? And fought in the golden age of the 70s. Okay? Now, as Chuvalo is fond of saying, he kissed lots of girls, but he never once kissed the canvas. On this list, he is first all time, pound for pound, of great chin. Okay? And Chuvalo is first throughout boxing, but this is heavyweights today. Number two, these are we're gonna do the best chins and worst chins. First is the best chins in the heavyweight history. Number two, Oliver McCall. He had a great chin. Oliver McCall, number two. Okay. Now, they called him the Atomic Bull. He was Mike Tyson's sparring partner in Mike Tyson's prime. And Mike Tyson had said Oliver McCall was the toughest man he was ever in a ring with. And McCall set up Tyson. I guess I sparred more than 300 rounds with Mike, and he never knocked me down once. But I put him down once, okay? McCall himself had 74 pro fights and was never off his feet as a pro, never. His only stoppage came during a mental breakdown during a fight with Lennox Lewis, whom he had previously beaten and was well in that fight, you know. McCall refused to fight in rounds 4 and 5, and he cried between rounds. Despite refusing to defend himself and Lewis teeing off on him with power shots, McCall did not go down, okay? Wasn't even defending himself, standing there crying. Still didn't go down though. Number three, the greatest. Number three, Muhammad Ali. That's right. Yeah, Muhammad is number 3 all time heavyweight chin. Now, in 61 professional fights, Ali was knocked out only 4 times. Once by Doug Jones, once by Sonny Banks, once by Harry Cooper. All 3 flash knockdowns early in his career. Now, the once by Joe Frazier, that wasn't no flash. That was a left hook knockdown. That wasn't no flash. That was a real left hook knockdown, right? That was during their first fight. Now, Ali was never knocked out. His only stoppage came when Angelo Dundee threw in the towel against Larry Holmes. Ali was almost 39 years old, already suffering from Parkinson's disease, had no business in the boxing ring. That was the only time he was ever stopped. Now, before the fight with Holmes, in the medical examination, Ali couldn't even touch his finger to his nose, right? And the original doctors failed him, but Don King and the Las Vegas Commission went and found a doctor that they could pay to pass him so that they could have the fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he couldn't even touch his nose, 39 years old. That man had no business in a boxing ring. Only time he was stopped. Now Ali fought Sonny Liston, Cleveland Williams, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Jerry Quarry, Oscar Bonavena, Floyd Patterson, and Ernie Shavin. And the only one that ever knocked him down was Joe Frazier. The left hook knockdown. That was a real one. The other three were flash. Okay, but the Joe Frazier, yeah, that was a for real knockdown. Yeah. Number 4, best chins in heavyweight history, Big George Foreman. Big George. Fighting Shannon Briggs there. Okay, let's talk about Big George briefly. Now, Foreman was only down in 3 fights in his career, in 81 total fights. Only 1 knockout. You know, that one was with Muhammad Ali. And that was more from exhaustion than anything else when Muhammad Ali got him in the Rumble in the Jungle. Now, the other knockdowns, 1 from exhaustion and heat stroke to Jimmy Young, and 2 to Ron Lyle during their war. In a fight he won. Mm-hmm. But that was a war. Okay. Now, as to the Young fight, Gil Clancy, his trainer, said it was hot as hell in the ring. Foreman was suffering from heat exhaustion. He was hallucinating from dehydration. That's what his trainer, Gil Clancy, said. Foreman retired from boxing with a record of 45-2, 42 knockouts. His first retirement, right, and became an ordained minister. Then he came back to boxing in 1987, a decade later, to raise money for the George Foreman Youth and Community Center, which he had founded in Houston, Texas in 1984. Then in his second career, he went 31-3 with 26 knockouts, right? And it was never knocked down or out during the second stint. The older George Foreman never went down or out, okay? Number 5, best chins in heavyweight history, Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly had a good chin. Yeah, and it's crazy because his brother is on the weakest chins list, Vladimir, right? It's ironic. Vitaly has one of the great chins in history, and Vlad is on the list of the worst chins in history, right? Fighting until he was 41 years old with 47 professional fights, Vitaly was never off his feet, ever. Number 6, the Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes. The Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes. Great chin. In 75 fights, Holmes gets a shout out. In 75 fights, only 3 men ever got him off his feet. Ernie Shavers in this rematch, Ronaldo Snipes, for mighty shot in their fight. Both those fights, Larry got up and won. And of course, Mike Tyson. Larry was almost 40, 38 years old. He had been out of boxing for 2 years before that fight. Larry's chin is right up there with George Chuvalo and Muhammad Ali, and Foreman and the rest of them. Number 7, great. We're going to do the worst chins too, now, don't forget. Number 7 is David Tua. There's David Tua. He had a great chin. Tua never lost a fight in his 59-fight career by knockout or technical knockout. Only lost by decision. Was only down twice in his career. Once on an illegal punch, and was never stopped in the pros. Legendary Cuban Felix Savon stopped him in 1991 in the amateurs in Sydney, Australia. Okay. Number 8, Randall Texcard had a great chin. There's Randall. In 50 pro fights, Card was never off his feet until he had diminished himself badly with drugs. He was down once to Dee Collier and 4 times to Eddie Gregg. Number 9, the Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney. The Fighting Marine was never knocked out, while only ever being knocked down once. That was in his second fight with Jack Dempsey in the famous long count fight. Tunney is listed this far back because of his 67 fights. Of his 67 total fights, only 7 were against heavyweights, and because he never faced one single black fighter. But only 7 were against heavyweights. He fought back in that era, with the racism and the black fighters being avoided and everything. And coming in at number 10 of the great chins, final of the great chins, Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier. Yeah, left hook that would have put most fighters lights out. That's right, T. Hill. And all he got up from that. Yeah. But he was smart. He took his time, let the count play up, and he got up. He didn't bounce right up like most fighters would have, Took his time and gathered himself and got up. Yep. And number 10 is Joe Frazier. Frazier was only knocked down in 4 fights, 2 of which he got up and won against Oscar Bonavita and Mike Bruce. You know who the other 2 was. So he swore the latter was a slip. Now the 3rd and 4th fights he was stopped with a total of 8 knockdowns. Both fights were against Big George Foreman, where Frazier, with 9 inches reach disadvantage, right, had to literally run at Foreman, getting hit coming in over and over. The amazing thing is, as George Foreman said, Frazier kept getting up. Yeah, Frazier, like Angelo Dundee said yesterday, on the show, the part we was reading, that's a terrible style matchup, with the way Joe Frazier fought. No way he's going to beat George Foreman. That's what Customato told Mike Tyson. Don't fight George Foreman because the same thing will happen to you to happen to Frazier. Only difference, Mike wouldn't have kept getting up all those. After like 2 knockdowns, it would have been over. Frazier got up 6 times, 5 times, because it was 6 knockdowns. Mike would have got up twice, and then that would have been it. But all these guys are something special, and it is a shame we can't discuss other weight classes in this answer, because we're talking about heavyweight. Because Marvin Hagler had a chin for the ages. Down only once in his life, and that was really a slip. So Hagler really never went down. Now let's look at the worst chins in the heavyweight division. Worst chins in heavyweight history. That's 7 of them. Okay. Here we go. The worst chins in heavyweight history. Now, in heavyweight boxing history, several fighters are often noted for having particularly weak chins, which contributed to their vulnerability in the ring. Some of the boxers that are frequently mentioned include, number 1, Greg Page. Yeah, Greg. Now, despite having considerable talent, Page was known for his susceptibility to knockouts, suffering several in his career. Number 2 on the weakest chins list, Michael Dokes. Mike Dokes. Yeah. Dokes had a strong start, but was often criticized for his chin, leading to early defeats in his later years. Next on the weak chins list is Riddick Bowe. Yep, Riddick Bowe. While Bowe was a highly skilled fighter, He was knocked out in his prime by a lesser known opponent, showcasing his chin's fragility, right? Number 4, weak chins list now. Hasim Rockman. Known for his knockout power, Rockman also fell victim to knockouts himself, particularly later in his career. Number 5 on the weak chins list is David Haye, the British fighter, David Haye. Haye was a talented cruiserweight and heavyweight, but he faced knockouts against powerful punches, raising questions about his chin. Number 6 is another British fighter, Frank Bruno. Had a weak chin, Frank did. Now, despite his success, Bruno was knocked out multiple times, particularly in high-stakes matches. They tapped their chin. And finally, Bermain Stilvern. There's Bermain on the standing up. But Bermain had dropped somebody else in that shot. But yeah, he didn't get to, Bermain got to his chin first, whoever that is. Now, Stilvern was known for his power, but was also knocked out decisively in critical fights. And while these fighters had notable weaknesses in their chins, it's essential to remember that boxing is a complex sport and many factors contribute to a fighter's success or failure in the ring. Okay, so let's get to Shane. Ace in the building. Salute, Ace. We were just talking about some of the strongest and weakest chins at heavyweight. Okay, yeah. Now we're gonna go to Sugar Shane Mosley, the life and career of Sugar Shane Mosley. But salute, Ace. Good to have you aboard today. All my video clips disappeared. I couldn't play my opening today. All my video clips disappeared for some reason. I'm glad it's Friday because I got the whole weekend to get them back in. That's why I came on and just went straight to the show. I got a fire opening tonight. Got 4 fights. I got Joe Lewis and Max Bayer, Rocky and Ezzard Charles, Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta, and Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston. But for some reason they disappeared. So my studio audience won't be here today. That disappeared too. I don't know what happened. But I got all weekend to put them back in. So they'll be back Monday. But now the life and career of Sugar Shane Mosley. Some good fights tomorrow too. We got some of those top-ranked youngsters. We got Richard Torres, Abdullah Mason back in action tomorrow, Jahai Tucker. And then that's from Vegas, another card from Kazakhstan, Janibek back in action. So a couple of good cards tomorrow. And then you know what next weekend is the big one? Isn't that Boots and Stanionis in that next Thursday? I thought it was April 12th, right? I think. I double check that later, but I truly believe it is April 12th. That's next weekend. Iran Boots and Imanta Stanionis. You talk about good chins, those are 2 good ones. Both of those guys, Boots and Stanionis, yeah. Both of them got good chins. Very humble. Okay, I got to get to the beginning of my display here. Who is number 10? Bermain Stilvern, right? Here he is. Yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, let's get into Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane. Okay, let's go. Appreciate everybody that's on board so far. I hope you enjoy the show. Sugar Shane Mosley. Prior resume, as all those guys did back around that era he fought. Big names. Now, I'm not saying you fought a big name every fight, but big names were fighting each other more consistently than they do nowadays. Nobody fights a big name every fight, not unless your name is Oscar De La Hoya. 96 when Oscar won Fighter of the Year. He had 4 fights that year, all 4 against top 10 opponents. Oscar could have fought 2 top 10 and 2 lower levels, but no, it still won Fighter of the Year. But Oscar said, no, I won all top 10. We had Gennaro Hernandez, one of the Ruelas brothers, Jesse James Legion, and John Molina, all top 10. I believe it was lightweight in 96, 135, I think. Yeah. Oscar fought and beat all of them in the same year. Oscar said, nobody less than top 10 on my resume this year. Mm-hmm. And he deservedly got Fighter of the Year. Yep. But the life and career of Sugar Shane Mosley now. He fought Oscar. I think he beat Oscar. We're going to talk about that. I believe he beat Oscar. Yeah. We're going to get to it. How's everybody today? Ready for the weekend? It's here. Anybody got a big one planned? I don't. Just sit here tomorrow and wait on the fights and just chill. But Sugar Shane Mosley, right? He was born September 7th, 1971. He's an American former professional boxer. He competed from 1993 to 2016, okay? That's 23 years, longevity. He held multiple world championships in 3 weight classes, including he had the IBF lightweight title, he had the WBA and WBC welterweight titles, and he had the WBA, WBC, and the Ring Magazine junior middleweight title. Yeah, he went all the way up to junior middleweight. And Sugar Shane was also a lineal champion, welterweight twice, and junior middleweight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was lineal. He beat the man that beat the man. That's lineal. Okay. Now, Sugar Shane, currently 53 years old, okay, resides in Linwood, California. Now, he fought in, like I said, 3 weight divisions, lightweight, welterweight, junior middleweight. He was 5'9" tall. He had a reach of 74 inches, and he fought in the orthodox stance. He had a total of 61 fights during his professional career. He won 49, he lost 10, and he had 1 draw and 1 no contest. And he had 41 knockouts. Sugar Shane had pop. That seems like at least 80%. Let me check real quick. I should have did this before the thing. I'm sorry. I'm just fascinated by knockout rates. 83.6%. Not bad. Anytime you get over 80 and 60 fights over 80% knockout ratio, that's damn good. Mm-hmm. Sugar Shane. Okay, let's continue. Sugar Shane Mosley. Okay, now, in 1998, the Boxing Writers Association of America named Sugar Shane as their Fighter of the Year. He was also given the same honor by the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2000. In 2000 and 2001, he was named the world's best active boxer pound for pound by the Ring Magazine. Okay? Take a quick look at Sugar Shane's early years. We're going to get into his professional career. His early years. There's him and Fernando Vargas right there. Now, Mosley was born in Linwood, California, and raised in Pomona, California. He has 2 older sisters, Venus and Serena. What? Venus and Serena. They're the same. That's too before Luke did, because those are the name of the tennis sisters, right? Like you would say. Is he their brother? But no, they just happen to have the same name. Because his sister spelled with C. The tennis player Serena Williams is that's what I said. It threw me for a minute there. I said Venus and Serena. Okay, but his sisters got the same name. Mosley became interested in boxing after watching his father, Jack, box in street fights. Yeah, Jack used to be his trainer too. He fired his father, remember? Mosley has been trained and managed by his father since the age of 8. But during his career, his father fired Jack. We're going to get to that. How you fire your father, man? Okay. Amateur career for Sugar Shane. Amateur career. That's him. Fernando again. Now, Mosley was an amateur standout, capturing various amateur titles, including 1989 United States Amateur Champion at lightweight. Now, see, amateur weight class is a little bit different than like in the amateurs lightweight weight limit is 132 pounds. But he got the 1989 World Junior Championship silver medalist in San Juan, Puerto Rico at lightweight. 1990 United States Amateur Champion at lightweight 132. He won the Goodwill Games bronze medal in Seattle. All this is at lightweight, 1990. Then in 1992, he won the United States Amateur Championship at junior welterweight. As an amateur, Mosley completed his record was 250 wins and 16 losses as an amateur. Now his professional career for Shane Mosley. I have trouble saying professional. I don't know what it is. My lips get all twisted. Professional. I'm gonna say pro. I can say pro, but when I put that professional behind it, I get twisted up. But it's professional career. Gotta say it slow. Now the early career, Mike Rim in the building. What's up, Mike Rim? How you doing today, bro? We just started on Sugar Shane. Just started his pro career. Okay? Sugar Shane Mosley. Before we start his pro career, I'm sorry, I forgot to do this. Let me do it now. The JBT is at it again, okay? Check this out real quick, and then we're going to get back to it.
That's right. We're doing another 50-50 raffle. Yes, indeed. Someone is going to be able to walk away with the Easter basket. That's right. We're doing the drawing on Easter morning. Yes, indeed. And some lucky person is going to be able to get that bag. How do you get that bag? You send $10 to Cash App, JBT Network 1. Bam, and you in. Now, we still got the block special. That's right, 3 for $25. You know how you like that block special, man. Yes, indeed. It will increase your odds, just like our last winner, C. Wood, that won like 700, I don't know, some odd dollars, man. But listen here, man, we appreciate you at the JBT. We're looking forward to this new 50-50. And we're looking forward to see who is going to win the Easter basket. Again, send $10 to Cash App, JBT Network 1.
Okay. Yeah, it sounded like an earthquake was out there to make sure Miss Cass was okay. I don't know what was going on out there, but I hear her moving around, so I guess she's all right. Okay. Now let's talk about his Sugar Shane Mosley's pro career. Just Do Boxing is in the building. Salute Just Do Boxing. 4 o'clock shorty coming up at 4 p.m. You know, about the balance, unbiased boxing talk. You get both sides of every equation and you get it right. Everybody gets to Just Do Boxing. Right? Salute Just Do. Okay, we're talking about Sugar Shane Mosley today. We just got to his professional career. Now, his early career, okay, on February 11th, 1993, he was 21 years old. He made his pro debut, in a scheduled 6-round fight at the Hollywood Palladium in Hollywood, California. His opponent was Greg Puente, and Sugar Shane knocked him out in the 5th round. Now, he fought 6 more fights that year, winning all 6 of them inside the distance. Then the following year, 1994, Sugar Shane fought 9 more times, and he won 8 of them inside the distance. He was taken the entire 10 rounds by Oscar Lopez in April, okay? And then Now, he was taken the distance by Oscar Lopez, his only fight so far in his career that he went the distance. In April 1995, Mosley knocked out Raul Hernandez in the second round at the Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. July 95, he knocked out 34-year-old veteran Mauricio Aceves in round 4 at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Now, Aceves was best known for being the first ever WBO World Lightweight Champion. Yeah. And Sugar Shane knocked him out too. He was knocking him down early in his career. Yes, he was. So in January 1996, Mosley had his first fight outside of California, okay? First fight, he turned pro in 93. 96 was the first time he fought out of his home state, okay? And he fought at the Grand Casino in Biloxi, Mississippi. Wow, he went a long ways. Knocked out 35-year-old Mike Bryan in the first round. By May 1997, Mosley had won 23 straight fights, unbeaten. 22 of them coming by way of knockout. So he had a very successful early start, especially with the knockouts. Okay. Mosley versus Holiday. On August 2nd, 1997, Sugar Shane fought for his first world title, the IBF Lightweight Championship, against then undefeated title holder Philip Holiday. Holiday was 31-0 with 16 knockouts. Okay. Holiday was making his 7th defense of the title since winning it in 1995. Wow, so he had defended it 6 successful times again, and Sugar Shane was the 7th. This fight took place at the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut. It was the first time Mosley was scheduled to go 12 rounds. His first title fight was his first 12-rounder. And the fight went the full 12-round distance. And Mosley took Holiday's IBF title by unanimous decision. The judges had it. 116-113, 117-111, and 115-114. All in favor of Sugar Shane. Okay? I guess a relatively close fight. One judge had it 117-111, but the other two had it close. 116-113, 115-114. Let's take a look at his Sugar Shane's early title defenses. He made his first title defense on November 25th at the County Coliseum in El Paso, Texas, against Mexican Manuel Gomez. Now, Mosley knocked Gomez out in the 11th round to retain his title. Then, on February 11th, excuse me for a minute. On February 6, 1998, Mosley defeated 24-year-old Demetrio Sabalas at the Mohegan Sun Casino back in Uncasville, Connecticut again. Sabalas was down once in round 4 after an overhand right and left hook to the body. He was down again in round 8 following a flurry of punches from Mosley. And that was when referee Eddie Cotton stepped in and called an end to the fight. At the time of the stoppage, Mosley was ahead on all cards. 70-61, 70-62, 70-62. Pretty much throwing a shutout. 2 judges had given Sabalas 1 round. The other one had given him none. So, yeah, the referee saw all the punishment being given out and said, it's no use continuing. Okay. Then, I don't want to miss nobody coming in. Okay, then in May 1998, Mosley knocked out former world super featherweight champion and world lightweight challenger John Molina. Yeah, Molina was getting up there then. And he knocked Molina out in the 8th round at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Molina was also dropped to his knees in round 7. On June 27th, 1998, Mosley knocked out Colombian boxer Wilfredo Ruiz. Okay, round 3, round 5. Then fought at the Madison Square Garden for the first time, the theater in New York City on September 22nd, 1998, against Eduardo Morales. Morales was 26-0 with 21 knockouts coming in. Morales was knocked down in the 3rd round and eventually stopped in round 5. Okay. Then his next fight was against Jesse James Leger. And on November 14th, 1998, Mosley faced his toughest defense to date when he fought 32-year-old WBC super featherweight champion Jesse James Leger. Leger came up to lightweight to challenge Shane. He was the current super featherweight champion. This was at the Foxwoods Resort in Mashantucket, Connecticut. This was Sugar Shane's 6th defense of his IBF title. As the fight progressed, Leger was knocked down in rounds 6, 7, and 9, and the fight was stopped when Leger couldn't answer the bell for round 10, giving Mosley a deserved victory. And Mosley was leading by scores of 89-78, 89-78, and 88-79 at the time of the stoppage. Leger took the fight with 3 weeks' notice, okay? And Sugar Shane was beating him widely at the time of the stoppage. Yeah, Sugar Shane was a very good boxer, too. He had pop and was a very good boxer. Boxer puncher style, Yeah, for Sugar Shane. He would fall into that, because all boxers, 4 main categories, like the pressure fighter, the boxer puncher, the outboxer, and what's the other one? The outboxer and the brawler. Sugar Shane would be a boxer puncher category. Now, Mosley took only 2 months out, returning to the ring to defend his title in January 1999 against Golden Johnson at the Civic Center in Pensacola, Florida. Now, the fight ended when Mosley connected Johnson with a flurry of punches as he was against the ropes and then dropped to both knees. Now, Johnson beat the count, but he was put down again seconds later, and the fight was stopped. On April 17th, 1999, Mosley made his 5th and final defense of the IBF lightweight title against former USBA super featherweight champion John Brown. This was at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. The fight was stopped after round 8 when the ringside doctor intervened, and Mosley won the fight by TKO to retain his title. Then he went to welterweight. He bypassed junior welterweight. He fought at, let me see. Let me get that right. Because he, he bypassed junior welterweight. He went straight from lightweight to welterweight, okay? Lightweight, welterweight, and junior middleweight. So he vacated his title at lightweight and moved up to welterweight, okay? Yeah, that's how he did it. Never fought at 140. Did Sugar Shane. Okay, welterweight. Now, Mosley vacated his lightweight title and moved up 2 weight divisions to welterweight. And he scored 2 consecutive knockouts against Wilfredo Rivera and Willie Wise, setting up a huge fight against Oscar De La Hoya for the WBC welterweight title. Okay, so now he's going for his first title at welterweight up against Oscar. That's not him and Oscar, but I think that's Mayorga. But he's him and Oscar's in there somewhere. I'm just going through slides. It looks like Oscar right there. Is that Oscar? No. Oh, that's Pacquiao. I'm just going through slides, that's all. But welterweight. Now, his first fight at welterweight, he fought 2 fights. His 3rd fight at welterweight was against Oscar for the WBC title. On June 17th, 2000, Mosley met Oscar De La Hoya in Los Angeles for the WBC, IBA, and vacant lineal welterweight titles. How can the lineal be vacant? I don't understand that. But you had to beat the man that beat the man, so how can the lineal title be vacant? Anybody understand that? I don't. Oscar would have to be lineal in order for Sugar Shane to become lineal. You had to beat the man that beat a champion, right? And you beat that champion. How can the lineal title be vacant? I don't understand that. But anyway, he's for the WBC, IBA, and vacant lineal welterweight titles. Okay, there must be a misprint. This was the first boxing event to take place at the newly built Staples Center. Staples Center was just built then, home of the Lakers, 2000. After 12 rounds, Mosley emerged with a split decision victory. Now, during the fight, neither fighter was in danger of going down, but both had badly swollen faces at the end, and Oscar was bleeding from the nose for several rounds. Now, Mosley earned a minimum of $15 million, while De La Hoya was guaranteed $35 million. Judges Lou Filippo and Pat Russell scored the fight 116-112 and 115-113 respectively for Mosley, while Judge Marty Salmon had it 115-113 for Oscar. The fight was named the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year for the year 2000. Yeah, remember we covered that. Okay, so we move on. Mosley defended his newly won titles on November 11, 2000 at the Madison Square Garden Theater in New York City against Mexican boxer Antonio Diaz. Now, this fight lasted 6 rounds after Mosley knocked Diaz down twice. Diaz was also down once in round 2. On March 10th, 2001, Mosley was scheduled to fight unbeaten Australian Shannon Taylor, who was 28-0 with 18 knockouts at Caesars Palace in Vegas. Shannon was knocked down once in the first round. He was losing all rounds up until the end of the 5th round. Taylor lost the fight when he decided not to return for round 6. So Mosley hadn't suffered the first defeat yet. We're going to get to him in Florida and all of that. Mosley versus Stone. On July 21st, 2001, Mosley easily beat IBO World Junior Super Welterweight Champion Adrian Stone, knocking him out in round 3. The fight took place at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, and Stone came down to welterweight. Remember, he was the junior middleweight champion. He came down to welterweight for the first time in 3 years to challenge Mosley, and was losing the first 2 rounds before being stopped. Now, following the win, Mosley said he would like to have a rematch with Oscar De La Hoya in a split 50-50 fight or unification fight against unbeaten Vernon Forrest. And he ended up getting the Forrest fight. He fought Vernon Forrest twice. Take a look at Mosley and Forrest. Sugar Shane and Vernon Forrest. It was finally Vernon Forrest was nice too. He don't get the credit that he deserved. It was finally announced that Mosley would be defending his WBC and lineal welterweight titles against Vernon Forrest. Forrest was 33-0 with 26 knockouts coming into the fight. Now, this fight took place at the Madison Square Garden Theater in New York City, January 26, 2002. The Ring Magazine welterweight title was also on the line in this fight. Now, Mosley was knocked down twice in the second round as he went on to lose a unanimous decision, his first loss in his pro career. In round 2, Mosley suffered a cut at the hairline from an accidental clash of heads. And the final scorecards read 115-110, 117-108, and 118-108, all in favor of Forrest. So that was Sugar Shane's first loss. But then they went to an immediate rematch, okay? Had their rematch. Mosley and Forrest met in an immediate rematch on July 20th, 2002 at the Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Forrest, being the A side, received $3.42 million compared to Mosley's $2.8 million. The fight was also known at the time for its attendance of 15,775, which was the largest boxing crowd ever in Indiana. Now, the fight went the full 12-round distance again. This time the scorecards were closer than the original fight. However, still had the same result. Forrest won it. 117-111, 116-112, 115-113, unanimously. A little closer this time, but Sugar Shane suffered his second consecutive loss to the same man. Now, USA Today had it 115-113, still in favor of Forrest. Forrest kept on the outside using his height and reach as an advantage throughout the fight. So now he goes to junior middleweight. He fought a junior middleweight, remember, when the Australian Taylor came down to welterweight, but he was the junior middleweight champion. But now Sugar Shane is officially moving up to junior middleweight, to the junior middleweight division. Mosley's first fight at junior middleweight was scheduled to take place on February 8th, 2003 against former IBF junior middleweight champion Raul Marquez at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Paradise, Nevada. Now, the fight ended in a no contest when Mosley accidentally headbutted Marquez twice in round 3, which caused 2 very bad cuts above the eyes of Marquez. Mosley earned the $2 million purse for the fight, but it ended in no contest. Okay, so now he has the rematch with Oscar. Yeah, they fought twice. They didn't have immediate rematch, but they did fight 2 times. Sugar Shane and Oscar, the Golden Boy. I don't know who that is. Fernando Vargas. Okay. Sugar Shane versus Oscar. 2. Mosley and De La Hoya faced each other for the second time on September 13th. This time with Oscar, the ring, WBC, WBA, and lineal junior middleweight champion. Okay? And all those titles were on the line in this fight. Mosley defeated Oscar by a controversial 12-round unanimous decision and joined the exclusive group of world boxing champions that have reigned in 3 or more divisions. Many fans had Oscar easily beating Mosley in this rematch, but what counts is the judges didn't have him easily defeating him. Hold on for a minute. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties. Bear with me for a minute while I get this straight. Okay, there we go. This Wi-Fi just keeps messing up too much, man. It costs too much money to be doing this. I might as well just go ahead and steal cable like every damn body else. I try to do the shit right. Excuse me. Bear with me for a minute. At least the laptop didn't go down. Let's get out. Don't they know I'm on live? There we go. Okay, it's back. Okay, now he just beat Oscar for the second time, right? Was that where? Yeah, that's where we was at. Yeah, a very controversial fight. And like I said, many of the fans thought Oscar easily won. But, what counts is what the judges thought, and they gave it to Sugar Shane. The judges thought Sugar Shane had won. So, Oscar landed over 100 more punches than Sugar Shane, and Mosley testified in 2003 that he injected himself with the notorious doping agent EPO as he prepared for this fight, right? With Oscar. According to grand jury transcripts and doping calendars. We're going to get into that later about his drug problems. What they call them? Damn, I can't think of the name. The illegal stuff you take. PEDs, right? PEDs. We're going to get into that, yeah, because he admittedly used PEDs. He said he used them before the Oscar fight, which he still lost, but the judges gave it to him. Just imagine that, cheating and still lost. Okay, Mosley versus Winky Wright. Look at Shane and Winky. Okay, I'm all off. But anyway, Sugar Shane and Winky Wright. Now, he just won the junior middleweight titles from Oscar. His first defense of his unified WBC, WBA Super, and Ring Magazine junior middleweight titles came on March 13, 2004 against the IBF champion, Ronald Winky Wright. Winky was 46-3 with 25 knockouts. This was at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Now, prior to taking this fight, Mosley turned down an offer to fight Felix Trinidad in a fight that would have seen him receive $10 million. The Wright, who was a 5-2 underdog, won the fight by a unanimous decision. Judges Dave Moretti and Chuck Giampa scored it 117-111, while Paul Smith had it 116-112, all in Wright's favor. It was a fast-paced fight. Mosley was unable to get on the inside. Wright's southpaw stance made it difficult for Sugar Shane, as he threw jabs and straight lefts to both the face and body of Mosley. Now, CompuBox stat shows that Wright outlanded Mosley, landing 250 punches to 166 from Mosley, right? In the post-fight interview, Mosley said about the Trinidad fight being in jeopardy, "It was not a mistake. I have no regrets. I wanted to find out who was the best in our division. I was fighting for history." Mosley earned $2.1 million, while Winky earned $750,000. He could have got $10 million against Trinidad. And this judge, Dave Moretti, he's still judging. You know, he actually judged the Sugar Ray and Hagler fight in '87 and still judging to this day. That's 38 years ago, right? 1987. This man is still judging. Judge Sugar Ray and Hagler. Wow. Time to put him out the pasture. He judged Mosley and Winky won. So they had an immediate rematch. Shane and Winky Wright did, okay? Immediate rematch. Mosley versus Winky Wright 2. Now, instead of the big money fight against Felix Trinidad, Mosley fought Winky Wright in a rematch on November 20th, 2004 at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Now, the fight was for the WBC, WBA, and the Ring Magazine World title. Wright was stripped of the IBF title on April 19th, 2004 because he agreed to have a rematch with Mosley instead of defending the belt against the mandatory challenger, Kasim Duma, right? Now, this fight was aired on HBO. It went to the final full 12 rounds again. Both fighters were tired during the last round and clinched for most of it. Now, after the final bell, both fighters showed respect for each other and embraced in the ring. Excuse me. Okay, one judge had it 114-114, even, while the other two scored at 115-113, both in favor of Winky, meaning he scored back-to-back wins over Sugar Shane. Now, Winky landed 119 more punches than Sugar Shane did, right? So I guess he should have won. 119 more punches. I know CompuBox is just two people hitting buttons, but that much? It had to be something to that. Yeah, over 100 more punches. But the way these judges are, you wouldn't have been surprised they would have gave it to Sugar Shane. Okay. Now we got Fernando coming up, and his pictures was way back there somewhere. We've been looking at Fernando for the last 5 minutes. Now he finally fighting Fernando. That's Mayorga there. Sugar Shane and Mayorga there. But anyway, Sugar Shane versus Fernando Vargas 1 and 2. Okay. In November 2005, negotiations were complete in a fight between Mosley and former junior middleweight champion Fernando Vargas was confirmed as a WBA junior middleweight title eliminator. Now, Fernando had popped too. He came into the fight 26 wins, 2 losses, with 22 of them by knockout. Only 4 people that went the distance with Fernando coming into this fight, okay? And it was a WBA, junior middleweight title eliminator. Now the fight, because Winky Wright had the title, the fight was scheduled to take place on February 25th, 2006, live on HBO pay-per-view at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sugar Shane was guaranteed $3 million plus percentages of the pay-per-view revenue, right? And Mosley won the fight by 10th round TKO after Vargas' left eye was completely closed. Now, Vargas claimed the cut and closure of his eye was not due to a punch, but because of a clash of heads. At the time of the stoppage, 2 judges had Sugar Shane ahead on 2 cards, 86-85 on both of them. The 3rd judge had Vargas ahead, 86-85. Very close fight, very close fight. Fight was still in the balance. It was stopped in the 10th round with 2 rounds to go. It could have went either way. 2 judges had Sugar Shane 86-85, and 1 judge had Fernando 86-85. Very good, close, competitive fight. Okay, that's worth watching if you like old fights. That was a very good one. Until Vargas they had to stop it because his eye was closed, and they said it. The referee said it was a punch, but Vargas, after the fight, said it was a clash of heads. But the fight exceeded financial expectations, generating 415,000 pay-per-view buys and $18.6 million in revenue. So that wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Now, a rematch was made to take place on immediate rematch on July 15th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Because eye swelling like that, and a very close fight in the 10th round like that, yeah, an immediate rematch was perfect. They need to do that more often, yeah, to settle that. Because Fernando contended that it was a clash of heads, so have the immediate rematch. And that's what they did. Now, this time, Sugar Shane was to earn $4 million and a percentage. And Fernando had a base purse of $3 million, right? Now, Mosley floored Fernando with a left hook in the 6th round. And Fernando had a very hard time getting up. Referee Kenny Bayless stopped the fight moments later. At the time of the stoppage, Sugar Shane had won every round on all 3 judges' cards. Wow. And Mosley was quicker than Vargas, easily winning rounds with his speed and combinations. But the first fight was totally different, okay? Much closer. Now, at the time of the stoppage, the scorecards were much more close than the first fight. How could that be? It was 86-85. Oh, they were much more close than the first fight, right? Because in this one, Mosley had 5 rounds to none on all 3 scorecards. Yeah. Now, the attendance of the fight was 9,722. After the fight, Mosley said, "When I was in the ring, I remembered watching Oscar fight Vargas. He threw that perfect left hook. I was bouncing around and I saw the opportunity and I threw the perfect left hook." Mosley also talked about moving back down to welterweight. The HBO confirmed the fight did 350,000 buys, generating $17.5 million in revenue. Didn't do as good as the first fight, but still not too bad. Okay? Not bad. So he did go back down to welterweight. Sugar Shane did return to welterweight. But let's take a break right quick.
Is doing it again. That's right. We're doing another 50-50 raffle. Yes, indeed. Someone is going to be able to walk away with the Easter basket. That's right. We're doing the drawing on Easter morning. Yes, indeedy. And some lucky person is going to be able to get that bag. How do you get that bag? You send $10 to Cash App, JBT Network 1. Bam, and you in. Now, we still got the block special. That's right, 3 for $25. You know how you like that block special, man. Yes, indeed. It will increase your odds, just like our last winner, C. Wood, that won like 700, I don't know, some odd dollars, man. But listen here, man, we appreciate you at the JBT. We're looking forward to this new 50-50, and we're looking forward to see who is going to win the Easter basket. Again, send $10 to Cash App, JBT Network 1.
All right. Easter Bunny gonna bring somebody some cash, man. Santa Claus bought C. Wood 730 big ones. The Easter Bunny gonna bring somebody something. But you gotta play to win. You got to play to win. So get in. Okay, return to welterweight. Mosley versus Collazo. Okay? Mosley versus Collazo. There we go. I was wondering why everything was so dark. It was me. Okay. Despite being in position to challenge for the WBA junior middleweight title, because he won the title eliminator, right? But Winky Wright had the title and he had beat Sugar Shane twice. So instead of fighting Winky for the title, he moved back down to welterweight. Okay. He decided to return to the welterweight division. In January 2007, Mosley and former WBA welterweight champion Luis Collazo announced that they would meet on February 10th, 2007 at the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas in a fight billed as Battle at the Bay. Now, the interim WBC welterweight title was at stake because then full WBC champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. had planned to move up to junior middleweight to challenge Oscar De La Hoya. There was no confirmation as to whether Mayweather would stay at 154 or return to 147 after that fight. Now, Mosley knocked Collazo down in round 11 with a right hook, and he went on to win the fairly one-sided fight, with the judges scoring it 119-108, 118-109, and 118-109. Mosley was guaranteed $1 million for the fight. Okay. Next, Miguel Cotto. Mosley versus Cotto. Told you, man, those guys back then had some fire resumes. You didn't fight a big name every fight, but there wasn't many fights that you didn't. You know, I mean, wow. Mosley versus Cotto. It was announced on August 15th, 2007, that Mosley would challenge undefeated Miguel Cotto. Miguel was 30-0 with 25 knockouts coming in, and Miguel was the WBA welterweight champion at the time. This fight was being billed as Fast and Furious, and it was announced to take place at Madison Square Garden in New York City, and it's going to be on HBO pay-per-view, right? On fight night, the attendance was 17,135. Now, Cotto landed the better shots in round 1 and most of round 2, but Mosley landed some good shots at the end of the second round. Both landed big shots in round 3, with Cotto momentarily rocked by a right hand from Mosley. Okay? Now, the two fighters then had some good exchanges in the fourth round. Round 5 was close, but Cotto appeared to be taking control of the 6th round. Now, Mosley adjusted and tried boxing from the outside in the 7th round. The boxing continued in the 8th as Sugar Shane moved and Cotto pursued. Sugar Shane hurt Cotto in the 9th round, but Cotto fought back gamely at the end of the round. Mosley dominated the first half of the 10th round, but Cotto rallied in the second half. Mosley pressed in the 11th, but Cotto landed some great counter punches to win the round. Possibly thinking he had the fight won, Cotto stayed out of range in the final round. Two judges scored the fight, 115, 113. The third judge had it 116, 113, all in favor of Cotto, who retained his WBA title and gave Mosley his fifth professional loss. Now, both fighters landed 248 punches, with Cotto having a better connection rate due to throwing 101 fewer punches. Okay, Cotto had the better percentage. Now, Mosley showed his professionalism, saying, "Good luck, champ. You're a real warrior," to Cotto on his way out of the ring. Sugar Shane earned the purse of $2 million, and the fight garnered 400,000 pay-per-view buys. Not bad. So now he goes back to junior middleweight. This is all backwards. We've been seeing him in Mallorca way back there. Now he fights Mallorca. Remember, we had Mallorca. Oh, that was Mallorca right there. Yeah. No, it ain't. Well, let's just move on. Sugar Shane versus Ricardo Mallorca is next. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more in the building. Just talking about Sugar Shane, Bruce, that's all. Okay, salute. Good to see you today, bro. How are you? Okay, I know everybody subscribed to Bruce Gas that's in here. Yeah, we all are. And anybody out there listening, subscribe to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Okay, you like boxing history, what's going on now, everything about boxing. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more got it. Find your interviews. Okay, salute Bruce Gas. Mosley versus Mallorca. In August of 2008, it was announced that Mosley would fight at junior middleweight against former world champion Ricardo Mallorca. Now, the fight was to take place at Home Depot Center in California on September 27, 2008. The first time since 2000 that Mosley would fight in his home state. Because remember, before this first 3 years, every fight was in California. And now he went 8 years without fighting there. So he finally returned in 2008, right? Now, the fight was for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Junior Middleweight title. Mosley was guaranteed $1 million. Now, during the first 3 rounds of the fight, the harder puncher appeared to be Mallorca, who landed right hands from long range on Sugar Shane. Mallorca's roughhousing tactics, mixed with his usual showboating antics, seemed to bother Mosley, who appeared more uncomfortable and agitated than usual in fights, right? Now, in recklessly lunging in with wild power shots of his own, Mosley wound up falling right into more clinches and getting caught with punches he should have avoided. Sugar Shane settled down and found the distance in the 4th round and took the next 3 rounds by timing Mallorca with counter overhand rights that landed and occasionally following up with short hooks and single body shots. Mosley continued with right hands in the 7th and 8th round. Mosley was able to land single power shots in the late round, but through very few combinations. At times, Mallorca beat Mosley to the punch with lead right hands. Near the end of the 11th round, Mosley landed a right hand that splattered blood from Mallorca's mouth. With less than a minute left in the fight, Mosley knocked Mallorca down to his hands and knees. Now, Mallorca got up unsteady, right? Got up on wobbly legs. Mosley stepped in with a short lead left hook to put Mallorca back on the mat, flat on his back, at the bell, right? Resulting in the referee waving the fight off. Ooh, at the bell, he waved it off. Wow. At the time of the stoppage, 2 judges had Mosley ahead with scores of 107 to 102 and 105-104, while the third judge had Mallorca ahead 105-104. Had the fight gone to the scorecards, Mosley would have won by unanimous decision due to the last round being a 10-7. Yep. Sure would have. So now he goes back down to welterweight. Up and down. He's going up and down. Remember, he was at welterweight. He went to junior middleweight. He came back down. He went back to junior middleweight. Now he's going back to welterweight again. Okay. BN Boxing News. Salute BN Boxing News. Another great channel. Yeah. Oh, he's coming up now. This is him now. He get ready to fight Margarito. Yeah, that's him right there. BN Boxing News. Yeah. Yeah, packing his gloves. He messed Cotto up. Cotto won the rematch though, and Cotto said that was the most satisfying win of his career when he beat Margarito because he busted Cotto all up with that plastic. Him and Panama Lewis. Wasn't Panama Lewis his trainer? Panama Lewis had been suspended back in the '80s for doing some underhanded stuff. Yeah. No, I can't remember who his trainer was, but yeah, they had a history of being sleazy. I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, that's him being Boxing News with the loaded gloves, loaded hand wraps. Mosley versus Margarito. He came back down to welterweight, right? And Mosley versus Margarito. Yeah, I can't get this thing to move again. He keeps doing this. 320. There we go. Yeah. Mosley versus Margarito. Excuse me for a minute. Technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. Crazy. There was. Oh boy, I don't know what's going on. Bear with me, please. Be right with you. This Wi-Fi been all over the place. And we don't have that much further to go. Okay, Mosley versus Margarito, right? That's where we're at. This is they just got these. Okay. This is crazy. Bear with me. Having some problem with the Wi-Fi right now. At least the laptop didn't go out. Okay. Boy, this is ridiculous. All right. Mosley versus Margarito. We'll try this. Okay. Went back down to welterweight. Then he's fighting the guy that BN Boxing News called it, the guy with the loaded hand wrap. Margarito. Antonio, something. I can't remember his name. Antonio Margarito, is that it? I'm almost to it. Palazzo. Sorry about this. There he goes. No, not Ricardo Mayorga. The next one. Yeah, Margarito. There we go. Yeah, Antonio Margarito. That's his name. Man. This is absolutely crazy. Bear with me. 2 more minutes, we'll be ready. They're going Wi-Fi, man. I'm just going to give it up and just plug into the neighbors. Start stealing Wi-Fi and stuff. But here we go. Going up against Margarito. Okay. Now, prior to one of the biggest fights of his career, Mosley began training with Nazim Richardson, right? He regained the WBA welterweight title from Antonio Margarito on January 24th, 2009 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. He was now 37 years old, and he came into the fight as a 41 underdog with the bookies after Margarito had spectacularly stopped Cotto 6 months earlier. He cheated. And Mosley beat his ass, man. Yes, he did. Did he? He had just stopped Cotto, but later we found out that he had loaded hand wraps. So prior to the fight, very few people gave Mosley a chance of prevailing, with the view that Margarito was too strong and young for Mosley. Because remember, Sugar Shane was 37 at that point in his career. But did he prove him wrong? Now, the conventional wisdom was that this was a mismatch, which would end in a brutal retirement, forcing stoppage against Sugar Shane. A comparison of their last fights, the aforementioned destruction of Cotto by Margarito, and a last gas knockout by Mosley in a hard 12-round struggle against Mayorga, did not bode well for Mosley. Some predicted a massacre, and it was a massacre. Only it was Margarito that got massacred, right? He was ruthlessly clubbed about the ring, unable to land any meaningful shots the entire fight on Sugar Shane. Sugar Shane eventually TKO'd Margarito in the 9th round after appearing to win every round up until then. In a massive upset, Sugar Shane Mosley utterly dominated Margarito, using his superior hand speed, pinpoint accuracy, consistent body punching, countless huge right hands to the jaw, and tying up when Margarito backed him into the rope to wear Margarito down and stop him, something that many seasoned boxing observers thought was nigh on impossible. After knocking him down with a series of heavy overhand rights at the end of the 8th round, Margarito was unable to avoid punches during a heavy barrage from Mosley early on in the 9th round, forcing the referee to step in as Margarito slumped to the canvas a second time in the round. Margarito had never previously been stopped. It was a sensational win for Sugar Shane and propelled him back to the upper echelons of the welterweight division in the sport of boxing. In addition to further cementing his legacy as one of the best fighters in his era, right? The fight was marred in a controversy after Mosley trainer Nazim Richardson diligently spotted the guard's knuckle pad accessory in Margarito's hand wraps. That's when it all started. California State Athletic Commission officials had Margarito rewrap his hands and took the pad for testing. See, that's what happened. They made him rewrap his hands, and he didn't fight with that illegal shit in there that fight. That's why he got his ass beat so bad. Richardson spotted that mess before the fight, and they made him rewrap, and he had to fight legally and showed he wasn't shit fighting legally. That's how he beat Cotto with that illegal hand wrap. But once he had to fight without them, C-level. C-level fighter, okay? So the commission had the stuff tested, right? Let's see. I think I lost my spot. They had Margarito rewrap his hands and took the pad for testing. A state laboratory likened the substance to plaster of Paris. Margarito and trainer Javier Capetillo, that's him, would be suspended for a year. Capetillo had been in some other sleazy activities in boxing earlier in his career too. They were suspended by the California State Athletic Commission. This effectively banned them from boxing across the United States, as suspensions in one state are usually also enforced by other commissions. Later investigations determined that Margarito was likely loading his gloves for several other fights as well, including his title win over Miguel Cotto. The fight was for Margarito's WBA title and the vacant linear welterweight championship. Right? The ring did not recognize this fight for its vacant welterweight championship, despite the fact it pitted the ring number 1 ranked welterweight Antonio Margarito versus the ring number 3 ranked welterweight Shane Mosley. Now, coming into the fight, Margarito had just TKO'd the previous ring number 1 ranked welterweight and current ring number 2 ranked welterweights, Miguel Cotto. After the fight, Mosley was named the ring's number 1 ranked welterweight. Yeah, Margarito, without those illegal stuff in his handbags, he's just a C-level fighter, right? So now, Mosley versus Mayweather. That's him and Fernando Vargas again. I don't know where Mosley versus Mayweather is at. It's up there somewhere. Okay, Mosley versus Mayweather. Shane and Floyd. It was announced on May 1st, 2010. The fight would be on May 1st, 2010. Mosley would fight undefeated Floyd Mayweather Jr. Boxing purists had called for the fight for over 10 years. Mosley was scheduled to fight WBC champion Andre Berto in a unification fight, but Berto had to pull out after an earthquake in Haiti killed some of his family members. Mosley's WBA title was not on the line because Mayweather refused to pay WBA sanctioning fees. Yeah, because I found out the challenger got to pay too. When they had those championship fights, the champion and challenger have to pay sanctioning fees. But Floyd refused, so the WBA the title wasn't on the line. On fight night, Mosley stunned Mayweather with 2 right-hand shots in the second round. That showed Floyd had a chin because Shane waited for that shot and got 2 of them in, but he didn't. He drove Floyd back to the ropes with it, but he didn't get Floyd out of there. Shane had that planned all through training, and he got those shots in, but it didn't do the job. Caught Floyd's attention though, but didn't get him out. Shane said, "I'm gonna wait to get that right hand in and end the fight." Nope. Floyd got a beard on him. Now Floyd recovered well and dominated the rest of the fight with superior reflexes and his effective counterpunching style, eventually beating Mosley in a wide decision, 119-109 twice and 118-110 on the scorecards to win Mosley's linear welterweight championship, okay? But the WBA wasn't on the line because Floyd refused to pay sanctioning fees. On May 22nd, 2010, Mosley was stripped of his WBA welterweight title due to not making a mandatory defense, which in turn made WBA champion Senchenko the sole WBA titleist in the welterweight division. I wasn't even gonna fool with that first name. Vyacheshlav. Senchenko. No, I ain't fooling with that. So now he goes back to junior middleweight again. Going up against Sergio Mora this time. Back to junior middleweight again for Shane. On June 30th, 2010, it was announced Mosley would next fight former WBC junior middleweight champion Sergio Mora. Mora was 22 wins, just 1 loss coming into that fight. This was at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, home of the Lakers, September 18th. Now, an official press conference took place at the end of August. Now, the fight ended up being a highly disputed split draw, where many people thought that Mosley narrowly won the closely contested fight, right? Boxback had it 114-112 for Mosley. But the judges who count had it 115-113 for Mora, 160-112 for Sugar Shane, and the third judge had it 114-114, a split draw. Now the punch stat showed that Mosley landed 161 of 522 punches for 31%, and Mora landed 93 of 508 punches for 18%. How the hell was that a draw? 31% to 18%. Yeah, I don't know. The judges got that one wrong. The result was booed by the crowd. They know what they saw. They saw this man land 18% of his punches and get a draw. Come on, man. The crowd knew what they saw. 18%. Wow. Anybody land under 20% usually loses, man. Ooh. So the crowd booed the judges, right? And they began chanting, Canelo, Canelo. Now, Mosley felt the decision was fair. We both fought hard. It was a good fight, a good decision. I bet if they would have said Mora won it, you wouldn't have felt that was fair. Goes back to welterweight again. Manny Pacquiao this time. Mosley versus Pacquiao. Okay? Back to welterweight again. For like the third time. Eight likes. God damn. Oh well. Well, anyway, Mosley versus Pacquiao. It can't be right. Wow. Damn, I started out with 6. Wow. Okay, Mosley versus Pacquiao. 8 likes. Well, I guess YouTube be playing game because goddamn, it's more than 8 people been through here. I started out with 6 likes. Look at that again, 8 likes. Damn. Anyway, Mosley versus Pacquiao. On May 7th, 2011, Mosley lost the fight to Manny Pacquiao for the WBO welterweight title. It was at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Now, rapper LL Cool J performed as Mosley first entered the arena, while vocalist Jimmy Jamison of the rock band Survivor sang Eye of the Tiger as Pacquiao approached the ring. Now, Pacquiao knocked Mosley down in the 3rd round using a 1-2 cap with a left straight. Mosley was left dazed by the knockdown, but he managed to get back up. Mosley floored Pacquiao in the 10th round with a push, but referee Kenny Bayless inexplicably ruled it a knockdown. Now, if Kenny Bayless said it was a knockdown, it was a knockdown. None of the judges seemed to have bought it, judging from the scores. Replay showed that Pacquiao was throwing a punch off balance, had his right foot stepped on by Mosley's left foot, and went down with a little help from Mosley's right hand. That's a knockdown. Help from Mosley's right hand, right? Bayless apologized to Pacquiao after the fight for the mistake. Pacquiao gained one-sided verdicts from all 3 judges, 119-108, 120-108, and 120-107. Due to Mosley's defeat, Pacquiao looked at a November 12, 2011 matchup, a 3rd fight with Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay, goes back to junior middleweight. Now he's going to fight Canelo Alvarez. 8 likes. Mosley at Alvarez. I give myself 6 when I start out. Grandchildren and children's phones. So you mean tell me I only got 2 likes since I've been on here? Man, I'm going on. I ain't saying another one. I'm just joking. Some people do that. If I don't get another like, I ain't saying another word. But anyway, Mosley versus Alvarez. Okay, it's all good. In February 2012, it was announced that Mosley would fight 21-year-old, highly regarded junior middleweight champion, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo was 39-0, 29 knockouts at that point in his career. This was on the Mayweather-Cotto undercard, right? May 5th, 2012, okay? It was on Mayweather Cotto undercard. Now Mosley entered with a record of 2-3-1 in his previous 6 fights, dating back to 2007. Now, he was 40 years old at the time, 19 years older than Canelo. Now Canelo was guaranteed $2 million, while Mosley took the smaller amount of $650,000. Among those in attendance were Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Bernard Hopkins, and Oscar De La Hoya. Now the fight went to the scorecard with Canelo winning a one-sided decision with scores of 119-109, 119-109, and 118-110. ESPN scored the fight 118-110 for Canelo. Surprise, surprise. Canelo landed more than half the punches he threw. 348 of 673. Wow, that's a good percentage there. They didn't give me the percentage, so I guess I gotta do it myself. 348 of 673 is 51%. Wow, that is good. And can I get over 50? That's good. 51% for Canelo landed in that fight. Now Alvarez paid his respects to Sugar Shane in the post-fight interview through a translator. This was a great experience. I felt really good, and I want to thank Shane for giving me this experience. He's a great fighter, a true veteran. I tried to knock him out. He took a lot of punches, but it didn't work. And Mosley landed 183 of 745, 25%. Mosley spoke about stepping back from boxing. His defense was really good, and he was really fast. He can go a long ways. When the kids start to beat you, you might need to start going to promoting. I didn't expect him to be that fast or that good. The Mosley officially retired after this fight, ending his career with a record of 46 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 39 knockouts. He went 0-3-1 in his last 4 fights, but he did make a comeback. Okay? He came back. Them likes can't be right, man. 8 likes. No way. No way. I had 6. I start with 6. But let's go on. Okay, he made his comeback. He retired, first retirement, and comeback. On March 19th, 2013, Mosley announced he was coming out of retirement to fight 23-year-old Pablo Cesar Cano in Cancun, Mexico. The fight was set to take place on May 18th, 2013. Now, Mosley won the fight by unanimous decision, with all 3 judges scoring the fight, 115-113. Yeah, he's starting to, be too close fights with these young kids, Sugar Shane. It's time to get out for good. Like he said himself, remember? He fought Australian former professional rugby league footballer Anthony Mundine, right? This was on November 27, 2013, at All Phones Arena in Sydney, Australia. The fight was due to take place October 23rd, but Mosley dropped out due to contractual demands not being met, according to his promoter, Richard Schaefer. In the contract, it stated that the remaining $700,000 of Mosley's $1 million purse was due to be paid by 5 p.m. Now, Mosley lost the fight after Mundine scored a technical knockout during round 6. Before the 7th round, Mosley retired due to back spasms, giving Mundine the victory by TKO. So his second retirement. Okay, he's getting out for good now. Okay. Mosley announced his second retirement on December 7th, 2013. He stated that he plans to become a trainer to train his son, Shane Jr., and other young fighters. It didn't mention anything about Jack Mosley, his father used to train him. He ended up following his father during his career. I thought that story would have been there, but no. But okay. Yeah, second and final retirement for Sugar Shane. He said he was going to be a trainer, train his son, Shane Jr., and other young fighters. Haven't heard anything about Shane Jr. lately. In an interview, I knew he was getting his butt whipped. In an interview with World Boxing News, when asked if he had any desire to lace up his gloves and return to the ring, Shane said he would only consider return to the sport against the very top welterweights in the world. You can't even beat the young prospects coming up. How you gonna beat the top welterweights, Shane? No, you're not. He's not getting no shot. He's trying to say he only coming back for the big money, but no, he's not getting no shots against those big guys. He was losing to the kids. He said it himself. Now, Shane specifically named Floyd Mayweather Jr., Manny Pacquiao, and Juan Manuel Marquez. Why would they fight you? He's in his 40s, losing to prospects. Why would Floyd, Manny, and Juan Manuel fight Sugar Shane in 2015? No way. You're doing the right thing. Train your son. Sugar Shane also said in another interview in early 2015 that he was not sure if he would fight again, but that he wanted to come back and face a fighter of similar age, and specifically named Juan Manuel Marquez, right? And guess what? He came back again for Rialdo Mayorga. July 9th, 2015. Sugar Shane came back again. For Ricardo Mayorga, who had fought before. This was on August 29th at the Forum in Los Angeles. Okay. Now, on August 14th, Don King filed a lawsuit which stated that Mayorga still had a promotional contract with him dating back to 2009. Mayorga made a return to boxing in 2014. Legal documents showed that Mayorga, upon his return in 2014, signed a memorandum of understanding confirming that his contract with King still stands. The contracted weight was changed to 158 pounds. At the weigh-in, Mayorga came in 7.4 pounds heavier than the limit. Wow. Mosley also came in overweight. In the end, Mayorga weighed 165.4 pounds, with Mosley much lighter at 159.8. During the face-off, Mosley's girlfriend, who was also helping promote the fight, soaked Mayorga, emptying a water bottle over his head. Mayorga did not react, although later appeared to slap her backside. Wow. Mosley immediately erupted, putting his hands on Mayorga's throat. Yeah, slap my girl on the backside. I'm gonna do more than put my hands on the throat. I'm going my waistband. Now, when I was younger, we would have had to throw some hands, man. Don't do that. But Shane put his hands on his throat. Many outlets, including the WBC, claimed it was all staged, to which Mosley's camp called the WBC appalling. Anybody staging them when somebody slap your girl on the butt? No, that's not staged. The fight went ahead as planned. Mosley won the fight by 6th-round TKO following a body shot, which dropped Mayorga to his knees. The referee began to count, in which Mayorga did not beat. Right? He later complained it was a low blow, but replay showed it was a legal shot. Then he had some negotiations with Liam Smith to fight, but it never happened. Okay, he fought 37-year-old Patrick Lopez, fought David Avenesian. Then to get to his final retirement, because it's almost time for Just Do Boxing. Yeah, March 20th, 2016, Mosley announced he would fight NWBA interim welterweight champion David Avenesian, right? At the Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona on May 28th. At the time of the fight, Mosley was still ranked number 3 by the WBA. He lost the fight after going the distance. Avenesian won a unanimous decision, 117, 110 twice, and 114, 113. Then he had a fight canceled against Kurbanov, Magomed Kurbanov, right? Who was 10-0, 8 knockouts at the time. He was a prospect. That didn't. Now the final retirement was Sugar Shane Mosley. Final retirement. Yeah, YouTube is playing games. I know I got more than 8 likes. August 16th, 2017, Mosley announced his retirement after being a professional for 24 years. Speaking to ESPN, he said his body was no longer in a state where he could get through training due to a botched elbow surgery. In a statement, he said, I went in for a minor arthroscopic surgery to remove a couple loose bone fragments from my elbow, and the surgery turned into a whole ordeal after the surgeon admittedly accidentally burnt me on my forearm, leading to a sick infection and needing like 4 or 5 days of IV antibiotics and 2 weeks of antibiotics at home. It was crazy and surreal to learn that I could never fight again. You didn't need to. He was like 50 damn near. He retired with 61 fights in the paid ranks. He won 49 with 41 coming inside the distance. That was 83% knockout ratio. 10 losses, having only been stopped once. 1 draw and a no contest. You know, the Balco scandal. Okay, this was about his PED use. The Balco scandal. Okay, the Balco scandal. In August of 2002, federal agents initiated investigations into Balco, a California-based laboratory suspected of selling banned performance-enhancing drugs to top athletes. Shane Mosley was among those named as a Balco client, and he testified before a grand jury that he injected himself with the energy-boosting drug EPO and used undetectable steroids known as the Cream and the Clear, acquired from Balco prior to his 2003 fight with Oscar De La Hoya. We touched on that earlier, when Mosley won by a controversial unanimous decision. Okay? Now, Mosley insisted that he did not knowingly take banned substances and thought they were vitamins. Right. When's the last time somebody injected vitamins? Wow. You're lying, Sugar Shane. He said he believed the cream was flaxseed oil, but under questioning, he admitted it was probably something else. He knew it was something else. In 2008, Mosley launched a $12 million defamation lawsuit against Balco founder Victor Conte, who claimed that Mosley knowingly took performance-enhancing drugs. He did. Victor would know. Victor was part of the one that injected them into him. The suit was dismissed with prejudice in November 2010. With prejudice meaning he cannot bring it again. Okay? He can never bring that lawsuit again. Dismissed with prejudice. Okay? So that's the end of that. We lost that one, Sugar Shane. Personal life for Sugar Shane Mosley. In November 2002, Mosley married Jen Sheehan. The couple had 3 children before divorcing in 2010. Sugar Shane has a son, Shane Mosley Jr., from a previous relationship. Mosley Jr. made his professional debut in 2014. Haven't heard hide or hair of him lately. There you have it, the life and career of Sugar Shane Mosley. Now I get to him and Manny Pacquiao. The fight was way back there somewhere. Okay, it's Friday. The week of the big boxing history is over. I'll be back Monday with another week of big boxing history. Appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me all week, the usual suspects. I'll have my opening back. Everything disappeared. But my videos and my studio audience didn't show up today. Let me look out the backyard. No, they're not out there. I don't know what happened. But everything will be back in place Monday. Yeah, the big one, Boots and Stanionis is next week, right? I think. And what's his name? What's the guy that Brian Norman said he wanted the winner? That would be perfect. Because Boots and Stanionis is a unification, and then Norman 3 of the belts will be in one man's hands, and then Burial said the other one, right? Felt the what fight the winner. We got another undisputed. They say Earl and Bud is talking about fighting again. I don't want to see that. Earl should go ahead and retire, man. Play with his horses and his cows and stuff down there in Texas. And I was Team Earl in the Bud fight, but he got his ass beat, man. There wasn't no weird dehydrated. He just can't beat Bud, man. So give it up, Earl. Retire. You get a rich man. Play with your daughters, your cows, horses, your hogs, whatever you got down there on that farm. Put your boots on. Going out there and muck the stalls. But I appreciate everybody. We're going to get ready to get out of here. Just Do Boxing is up next in these YouTube streets. Hope everybody have a good weekend. I shall enjoy the fights tomorrow. We got some good ones. Remember, we got Richard, the young heavyweight headline in the card. The top rank got over there. That Bill Mason on the card, Jahai Tucker on it, and Janibek is on another card over in Kazakhstan. Richard, is it Torres? Yeah, that's in Vegas. With Bill Mason, Jahai Tucker, and then over in Kazakhstan, Janibek is back in action tomorrow. So yeah, some good action tomorrow. And then next week is Boots and Stanionis, right? Yeah, I think. Make sure right quick, because I've been saying that. I think it's April 12th, right? If I'm not mistaken. Boots and Stanionis. That's next Saturday. I was talking about good chins earlier. Both of them got good chins. I don't know if Boots going to be able to get him out of there. He'll probably take a decision because Stanionis is tough, man. He is a tough man. So I don't know if Boots going to be able to get him out of there. Probably get a 12-round unanimous decision. But I'm checking now, then we're going to go. Okay? April 12th. Let's see. April 10th. We got fights next Thursday. Yep, that's it. April 12th, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah. Boots and Stanionis. Raymond Ford on the card. He's at junior lightweight now. He's sold. Pretty good card. Omari Jones. Francisco Rodriguez. Oh, yeah. That's next Saturday, a week from Saturday. But, BN Boxing News, Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. Just Do Boxing, Mike Grimm, Ace, Thomas Hill, Ray Patterson, The Rise Podcast, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody stopping by today. Join me Monday to start off another big week of boxing history. If it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all of that boxing history. Just Do Boxing coming up next. This is Cass Sports. Everybody have a great weekend. I will see you all around those JBT streets.